I really liked this story. It stood out to me. It was strange and aloof, and very weird things kept happening in it, and they were addressed very casually. And I was just it was such a pleasant reading experience, and it seemed like it was really fun to write too. And it was funny, and I laughed a few times, and I have a soft spot for things that make me laugh. And I just really liked where the attention was in the story, and what the story seemed to be thinking about, and how all of the characters there's one character who kind of becomes other different characters, and it seems to be doing interesting things with thought and thinking and perspective, but from a very kind of casual and funny, aloof way. And I just really liked it, and I'm babbling now, but thank you so much, Mireille, for the story. Here you go.
Thank you. The sign came to me in French, and I couldn't read it at all. "What every girl has been waiting on," translated the store manager, gesturing at the poster. "You can find them over there." I smiled at him and made my way to the back shelves of the drugstore. It was where the magazines were kept, and I went there often to flip through French Cosmo and study all the ways I'd rejuvenate my skin if I could just wise up and learn French. Right then I was wearing an expensive sunscreen a friend had gifted me, meant for the face, but I'd smeared it all over my everywhere. It was inexplicably greasy, and I left little traces of slime wherever I dragged my fingers. I felt pleased, like a sea slug. I eventually found the thing I was looking for, its picture stuffed in a little box in the corner of a magazine. I took it back to the counter, and when I set it down, my gunk trails were all over the front. What's-her-face on the cover had a little greased mustache now, and it didn't suit her. I paid and waved to the cashier, and went back to my apartment and slept. In my sleep, I had a horrible dream. I didn't like it very much at all, so I won't describe it. It was a recurring dream that I'd get ever since I was a teenager, and at this point it was just boring. I rubbed my face as I woke up and got the last residues of sunblock in my eyes. My new magazine was waiting for me on the nightstand, and I sleepily examined it. The whole middle section was one thick plastic sleeve with something pink folded up inside like a poster. I took it out and did a batting kind of dance with it, trying to get a sense of its dimensions. It was my size, and I could see that it had the shapes of arms and legs and an early ancestor of shoes. Parts of it were patterned with bright swirls and glitter, design that seemed to shift position in the yellow light. The overall effect was like a schoolroom on Valentine's Day. I could practically see the cartoon hearts inflating and popping in wide halos around its body. In tiny abrupt lettering on top of what I guess was the head were the words, "Wash me." The bathroom at my place was small and tiled in a strobe like black and white, dizzying to walk around in. I draped the pink body dramatically over the sink and held its mitten hand while I waited for the tub to fill. Rubbing its skin against the grain, I tested the water with my free hand, drawing circles until it was warm. Then I added a rosy bath bomb for good measure and laid the body out to soak. "Enjoy your spa day," I said aloud to the bobbing figure. The room was starting to steam, and we both looked vague in the mirror, like a clear reflection would give too much proof that we were really there and all this was happening. The room already smelled like bunches and bunches of flowers. "I'll give you some privacy," I said, and shut the door. Once I was out, I leaned against the painted wooden sink all the way down. On the floor outside of the bathroom, there was a creased paper that must have drifted from the packaging when I took the body out. I reached for it lazily and read, "Ooh, we think someone has a crush on you. Meet the love monster. Be nice to him and he'll be nice to you. Tips. Give him a nice bath. He's tired and needs to relax. Now wait for him to wake up. Take some time to get to know each other. Maybe he will like you. No promises. You are not responsible for the love monster. He's a modern man too. If the love monster leaves, that is okay. Don't worry, there are many things in the world for him to do. Remember to try again." Sounds had begun to emanate in a muffled volume from behind the bathroom door, a wordless singing of sorts. A noise like a rainstorm passed through the room, and I realized it was the tub draining. And then there was a silence, and then the sound of something soft rubbing against something clean. And then there was silence again. I stood up quickly and grabbed my keys and my umbrella, though it wasn't raining. Then I opened the door of the apartment as discreetly as I could and slipped out, onto the avenue in the early darkness cradling balls of streetlight. To tell the truth, I was nervous to meet him. When I made up my mind to go back home, the apartment was empty again, though the door was unlocked. I thought about all the things there might be for the love monster to do in the world and thought about him doing them. I sat in the bathtub, which still smelled like flowers, and fell asleep. That night I had my dream again. I guess I'll tell you about it. I'm not a dark person or disturbed. I just have this one dream sometimes. In my dream world, the whole observable universe was a ballroom. It was expanding, of course, though I knew one day it would contract again, and to make up for this I wore the longest fur coat I could think of. After I was born and my birth was announced at the ball, I sat at the never-ending table and ate soup with my hand cupped under the spoon. I eavesdropped on my neighbors' conversations and watched the people dancing on the planet below through a tiny window in the tablecloth. When I got bored of that, I tried to catch a glimpse of myself in one of the big mirrors on the other side of the hall, but they were positioned just so I couldn't see any part of myself in any one of them, no matter how I stretched. I wrung myself out until eventually the gentleman on my right took note of my charade and asked what was wrong. I told him about my predicament, and he tugged on his tux as he considered it. "Well," the man said finally, "would you like to switch with me? I can see you fine from where I'm sitting." I thought about this idea and agreed it seemed smart. So I sat up straight and put my sight in my neighbor's body as he put his in mine. The room swelled and the waiters danced over invisible hills, and suddenly I was in my own field of vision, in full focus across the room in the silver green mirror. What I saw, well, on second thought, maybe I couldn't see anything. When I got up the next morning, there were rose petals tangled in my hair. I felt a wide brightness, like my ribcage had been cracked open and some wind was getting in. I hummed a little tune and decided it was okay to forget about the night before. Everyone is always so hard on themselves. Why, I wondered. Genuinely, I wondered it. Why? I decided not to worry about that either and freshened up for the day. As I was braiding my hair, I saw that my fingertips were blushing, all rosy and raw. In fact, when I finally looked at my reflection, it seemed my entire skin had turned a pale candy pink, though maybe this was just the sunburn.